In previous videos, I mentioned how to use historical context to enhance a story, not just decorate the genealogical facts. I also mentioned how to deal with uncertain fact. In today's Write With Me series, I'll show you how to decide what belongs in your story and what belongs in a sidebar and what belongs somewhere else. The purpose of sidebars is to keep your narrative clear without losing the extra context and explanations that matter. Now, if you've been around my channel for a while, you've seen that I use sidebars. I've talked about them, I've used them in examples, and I'll link a few of those videos in the description box if you want to go deeper. A sidebar is simply a separate space in your projects where your explanations can live without interrupting your story. Your main story should immerse your reader into your ancestors' world. What happened, who was there, what it felt like. The sidebar holds your extra details that would otherwise bog down your story, but still offers insight and clarity that some readers may appreciate. And yes, it's also a great place to explain genealogical details when necessary. So let's get to the real question. When should you use a sidebar? And more importantly, what actually goes inside it? When you're writing a story or revising it, if you suddenly think, I should explain this, that's your cue to decide where something belongs. So here's the simplest way to decide. Ask yourself, does this slow down the story? If the answer is no, keep it in the narrative. If the answer is yes, ask a second question. Does this add important context or clarity? If the answer is no, cut it. If the answer is yes, that's your sidebar. It's that simple. Let me show you a few examples from books I've written. If you find yourself explaining why a birth date is uncertain, then use a sidebar. Another example is if you're listing multiple spelling variations of a surname. This one is from my book about my ancestor, Joseph Geisler. Now, if you have an uncertain relationship where the jury's still out on how someone is related to someone else, then use a sidebar. Sidebars are also great for adding background information about a plate that isn't essential to the moment. In William's story, I added the context that his brother and his wife had a minor in their home named Clement. I don't know if Clement is their son or something else. So how do I handle this? Especially when I'm writing about William. The narrative needs to stay clear and brief. Clement was living in the household with John and Mary, Anne. Notice this doesn't imply that Clement is William's nephew, but some readers might stop and wonder why I worded it that way. This is a perfect moment for the sidebar. Now, here's a quick tip for your sidebars. The title of your sidebar should give your reader a choice. They can decide if this information is what they want to explore without being forced to read it. So please leverage titles so the reader doesn't have to read the entire sidebar to know what the topic was. Can you see how powerful sidebars are? You don't ignore or hide details that are relevant but uncertain. You just give the details a better place to live, and you let the readers decide how much detail they want to read. Think of it as a choose-your-own-adventure story, but inside a family history narrative. Once you start looking for things to move to a sidebar, you'll notice there are a few types of content that show up again and again. The easiest sidebar to recognize is when you find yourself creating lists. If you find yourself listing ages, birthplaces, marital places, and so forth, that's not a story. That's reference material. And reference material belongs in a sidebar. In William's story, two perfect examples appear in chapter 3. The first is about regimental information, and another is a demographic table. For his military unit story, these numbers are incredibly valuable for understanding the scope. However, they don't belong in the middle of a narrative paragraph. And if you're worried this starts to feel like a textbook, think of these sidebars as graphics. They break up your text in the same way a newspaper clipping or a photo would. History is a strange place with customs, practices, and events that aren't always common knowledge to your reader. However, you can incorporate all historical context into the main narrative in the way we mentioned in a previous Write With Me video. So sidebars are your best friend in this situation. In William's stories, I use a sidebar to describe Franklin County, Ohio at the time of his birth. Another describes the train depot where he began his military service, like the day that they were leaving Ohio. Sidebars give your reader the extra contents they need to understand the foreign land of the path. So your takeaway is this. In your main story, include just enough detail to anchor your reader in a time and place. Then use the sidebar for the deeper explanation. Whenever you have genealogically unproven or unclear information, you'll likely need a text box to appease the serious researchers in your audience. Anytime your research includes words like likely, possibly, unclear, you should immediately think sidebar. In William's story alone, I used this type of sidebar to address the uncertainty of his birth, how Clement is likely not a biological child of William's brother, and discussing where William's brother Edward is residing prior to the Civil War. In this story, these individuals are simply placed. They are born, they're in a household, or missing. In the sidebar, I explain the situation, the lack of records, the conflicting evidence, the gaps in the timeline, and so forth. And by doing this, I keep the main narrative moving while still being honest about the status of the research. These sections can get long, and we'll talk about what to do with those details in just a minute. When you're writing a narrative, you want to stay in the moment with your ancestor, but sometimes you discover connections that don't quite belong yet. Two families may be connected years before it becomes relevant. If you insert that into the main part of your story too soon, you can pull your reader out of the scene. So instead, place that detail in a sidebar. It's there for a curious reader, but it doesn't interrupt the flow of the story. This is also helpful when a connection matters to the bigger picture, but doesn't show up again later in a meaningful way. So you can avoid derailing your story by using a text box. So as you're writing, start to notice these patterns: data, context, uncertainty, connection. Then ask, does this belong in the story or does it belong in a sidebar? Now, before you start moving everything into sidebar, there's one more important tip we need to talk about. Not everything belongs in a text box either. As mentioned earlier, some sidebar topics can get rather long, which leads to this tip. A sidebar is meant to give clarity, not a full research report. My rule of thumb is that if it takes longer than a page to address, that's your signal to move the information to the appendix. The appendix doesn't have a page limit. You can analyze and correlate available records to your heart's content. You can explain your complex reasoning step by step. Also, you can use all the genealogy terms that make your heart happy, but bore a general audience. And finally, you can add graphics, tables, and so forth that are too large for the main body of the story. So once again, I use a text box to explain while William's birth date is uncertain. There are no direct records. The census data is inconsistent. The conclusions are inferred. That's enough for most readers. However, piecing together how his parents and siblings are connected, because no one record has the entire family in one household at the same time, that requires inferential genealogy and DNA evidence to make the case. So where does that go? If you said the appendix, you would be correct. So let's bring all of this together. When you're writing a family history, include all the context, both familial and historical, to immerse us into your ancestor stories. However, know the best places to present all the rich detail so that your story keeps your readers engaged, gives a deeper dive for those who want it, and satisfies genealogical needs for accuracy and evidence. If you want to know how I'm walking through this in real time, including all the messy drafts and sidebar examples, I have William's stories by chapter over on my blog post. Look for the links in the description box. Now, because this series isn't about writing perfectly the first time, it's about learning how to make just better decisions as you go. Be open to the opportunity to give me feedback or ask questions. That way we're learning together. Be sure to check for the Write With Me playlist link in the description box below. And until then, keep writing. And if you get stuck, let me know where you're at and I'll help you make the next right move.